Hey, and good evening. Welcome to the Chronicles of Rohn here on iHeart Intellectual Radio. I am your host, Alan Campbell. My host, Karen Ford, is out this evening, and hopefully she'll be joining us next week. So, as I do my show, first thing, let me say this. I want to say congratulations to my daughter. I became a grandfather for the fifth time. She had a little girl. Her name is Kenya Michelle. There you go, sweetie. And Gramps, he's not going to forget about you. So, but I'm going to shift gears relatively quickly. Tonight, I'm going to open up the lines real early because the topic I'm going to get into is about class. The thing that's going on in Charlotte right now, but I'm going to touch on a few things right now. We had an incident here in the city. And I call this guy he's a crack shot. So if you happen to be on this southeast side of town near 103rd and Ewing, that's Ewing, that's Ewing. I would be, if you're gonna be a thief, you might want to brush up. Anyway, there was an incident happened there last night where we had 3 individuals break into someone's home. Well, by that, this is something that happened. But not only that, but this guy was armed and ready. He had his FOID card. Or for those who don't know what a FOID card is, that's a firearms owner's identification card, which means that you have the right to have a firearm in your possession. It's different than concealed carry. Totally different. But anyway, these people broke in. There was a 22-year-old woman, a 24-year-old man, and get this, a 17-year-old boy involved in this. They broke in. This man capped all 3 of them. Amazing. This is called stand your ground and defending your home. Now you're inside. Once you're inside someone's home and you're there to do something other than visiting, they have every right to do what they do. And he did exactly, and currently he is being, he's under investigation, and currently there are no charges as of this point in time. But the 3 individuals, they will be swinging the sweet low by and by someplace else. Now, the biggest thing, the topic that we're going to get into tonight is what's going on in Charlottesville. Now, I know if you haven't been watching the news over the last 72 hours, what rock have you been under? Or you've been in a cave somewhere with no television. But what's going on over there is absolutely it's horrendous. It's atrocious. What's really funny about this is that I don't know how anyone who happened to be working in a Home Depot or a Menards didn't notice 100 and some odd white guys coming in there and buying up every tiki torch in the store until they were completely sold out. Now, I guarantee you the guy who sold all of that, he doesn't have a job. This is the guy that's standing on the employment line right now wondering, what did I do? Because the boss or the owner or the district manager saw all his tikis on television at a they want to call it a rally. No, this was white supremacists once again exercising white privilege on the University of Virginia campus, all because they removed the statue of Robert E. Lee from a park and they're replacing it with another monument. The park used to be called Robert E. Lee Park. Okay, now let's really delve into that for a minute. Virginia and the Carolinas were 2 of the states that were part of the Confederacy. They were the ones that were strongly opposed to abolishing slavery. Now, also, Virginia is the first state of the Union, which everything stemmed out of. And all of this happened only blocks from Monticello, which is Thomas Jefferson's home, who, by the way, also had slaves. And, some of us already know the story, but that's another story for another topic. But the park now is called Emancipation Park. Now, we have all of these individuals, white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and Nazis, that are marching down the street, storming into other venues, and creating mayhem and havoc. Now, here's the problem with this. If the United States government wanted to really deal with this, they would have, because in 1967, 68, 69, up until 70, when the Black Panther was at its height, they considered the Black Panther Party a what? A terrorist network. The first time that a group has ever been called a terrorist network. And these were people who live here in the United States. But the reason why they don't want to call the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, and the rest of these white supremacists or leftist groups terrorists, because why? These are some of the people who deliver your mail, who are your daycare workers, who are your doctors, who are your PCPs, who are your police officers, who are your firefighters, who are your congressional district members, who are your elected officials. No, we can't put him in jail. No, he's not that. He's not doing that. Yes, he is. He's been doing it. Now it becomes a problem. Why this has become a problem? Because why? This is white people attacking other white people. You see where the narrative is going. It's white people attacking white people. Now just Sunday or Saturday, you had this guy drive his car, which was a beautiful car, Dodge Challenger. Why would you destroy it? You'd have to be a complete brain dead fool to decide to do something like that. But he drives his car into the midst of anti-protesters, and killing one and injuring 19. Not only that, but he hit several cars and backed his car up the length of a half a block, striking more people. Now, his mother goes on to say, I didn't know that my son had these tendencies. But then she kind of backtracked and said, well, I heard his friends talk about this, and there were some things that he said. Well, you understand something? It has to start somewhere. It has to start somewhere. No one is born a racist. These are things that are taught. But when we get into that, when we talk about racism, what we're dealing with now is not even about race. It's not about race. It is about class of people, the haves and the have-nots, the rich, the middle class, and the poor. This is what this is really boiling down to. And if you look at these individuals, or most of them anyway, who are part of these leftist, these right-wing groups, these military type groups, these are individuals who what we sometimes affectionately call poor white trash, and they feel a sense of entitlement. These are these people. These are the people who are we say it's just completely ignorant, because they're basing their ideology on what someone else has told them, and also because someone has a little bit more than they have, a little bit more. Now, one of the other things too, and see, this is the difference between and I know some people are going to be really upset about this, but you know what? That's the beauty part of the show. Is everyone is entitled to their opinion. Now, you don't have to share it. You don't have to share my opinion. You really don't. But it's an opinion. And sometimes we have to look at things for what it really is and not what we want it to be. A lot of this, we have to go back to the previous administration on what they didn't do and they had the ability to do, opposed to the current administration and what they're doing and the ability, and they are actually using it. When you have individuals such as this, the previous administration had the power. In fact, it was their duty to investigate and to red flag these type of individuals, because what's happened now, this is the proverbial tone that the dog has gotten loose at the picnic and he's tearing everything up. When, first of all, you knew that this was a vicious animal to begin with, but you still continue to let it go. The previous administration had the ability and had the power to investigate and to shut down, to create venues, to create safeguards so this particular type of thing does not happen. Doesn't happen. We want to talk about civil rights. We want to talk about that. When we get into that, this doesn't fall up under that. It doesn't. This falls up under a race, a class of people who have felt a sense of entitlement since they got here. And now what's happening is that now white America is no longer white. It's now filtering over to white America. But see, nobody raised a finger, nobody batted an eye or raised an eyebrow when you had the same thing happening in the black community with black on black crime. Not one single solitary person did that. Moving back to the previous administration, when you allow certain things to wither away, for example, the Civil Rights Act was allowed to expire. When Lyndon Johnson signed it into an act, it was set for 50 years, which means that nobody could touch it. Now, we go to the Obama administration. Not only was that allowed to expire, but also the voters' rights was allowed to expire. This is one of the things why we're still dealing with this right now, because it was not addressed. Now, this gives the other group, white supremacy or white supremacists, KKK, this gives them a sense of authority, sense of entitlement, because now they figure since this no longer applicable or applies, we can act a damn fool. This is one of the things on why we have to look at things for what they really are and not what we want it to be. We can want as much as in the world as we want, but if it's not conducive for us, we have to use a little bit of common sense, a little bit. When the Civil Rights Act expired, when it expired, this means that we got a caller coming in right now. Hey, welcome to the show, Chronicles of Rohn. This is Alan, and who do I have on the phone, and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Chicago. This is Monet. I was listening to the show earlier, and there's some things I definitely disagree with you on. The first one is about the voters' rights expiring. That is not true. I hear that it directly but indirectly blaming President Obama for this, which is definitely not true. When Trump was running, he gave these white people the okay to do the things that they're doing. We need to stop as Black people, put everything at Obama's feet. That's what we need to stop. We want to go to Eric Holder or Loretta Lynch. First of all, Eric Holder had other things going on that they tried to take him under by giving guns to Mexicans. Then he had this civil thing going on with Trayvon Martin. Then Loretta Lynch, they made a big deal because she met Bill Clinton on the TARP. She's the one who told Ron, start investigation on these cops. Because they're the ones that they're violating our rights. So, no, I don't agree with you on this. This is a racial thing. It's not about class. It's not about half or the half-not. It's not. It's a race thing. These white people, Trump gave them the A-OK. It's okay. It's nothing going to happen. No, this is a race thing. We need to call a spade and stop covering. No, it is a race thing, and it will always be a race thing. Just so happened this young lady was there, and she was killed. I'm sorry for that. But how many of our Black boys have been hung, or our Black women have been hung? Our girls have been hung. This is nothing new to us. So no, I don't agree with that. I don't, and I'm not going to sit here and I'm not. I just can't. That's all I want to say on the show. You have a good night.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. This is one of the reasons why I love doing my show, because that way it's the level of when you have an opinion, I want to hear it. I definitely want to hear it. this is what makes this so exciting. And then at the same time, it gives everybody a voice to say what to say what they want to say, and what sometimes what needs to be said. As I said, remember now, it's only an opinion, and everyone is entitled to that. And this is the that is the segue to of my show. Everyone has an opinion, and we don't have to, but we will respect each other's opinion, and we will go from there. But thank you very, very much, caller from Chicago. To piggyback off of that, when we talk about the issue of race and the issue of class, when we talk about when we go back to slavery, that's really what it boiled down to. It wasn't about initially when they were talking about slavery was about class. The slave masters or the plantation owners, they were the ones. Oh, we have another caller coming in. Hey, welcome to the show. Who do I have on the phone, and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Najee Campbell calling from Chicago. Bronzeville, more specific.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, okay, listen. I get it, people want to say this is a class issue, but people need to call it spade a spade. It's more than a class issue. Class issues come from race. That's all it's about, and that's all it's ever been about, is about race. Not to mention, people fail to realize that this whole situation is stemmed from the fact that you have a group of people, not just Trump, but you had Republicans. People need to admit this. Republicans been catering to these statists and to these Confederates for years, which goes back to Nixon with the Southern strategy. This is a Southern strategy that just gotten completely way out of hand right now. It's gotten way out of hand. Way out of hand. Now people are panicking because they're like, I don't know what to do. And it's like, no, nobody wasn't saying that before when they were first doing it. They were going along with it. So that's why it's like right now, I mean, I get what happened in Charlotte. It was horrible, but people have to expect this was bound to happen sooner or later. There is a race war coming, and it's you can smell it from a mile away. It's been brewing for years.
Mm-hmm.
And people are saying, it's because of tough economic issues, but it's like, okay. I mean, it's true, yes, because of economic issues, but the fact is the economic issue stems from race. People want to complain about, it's because of other ethnicities who are stealing wages, but nobody has the balls to stand up to their bosses who are driving their wages down. No one has the guts to do that. So they're taking it out on an easy target. That's why it's like I keep telling people, these people who are doing this are just sadists. And no offense, how to handle a sadist, you have to put them down. Because no offense, a sadist is just so far gone that there's no point in saving them. A sadist, especially in psychology, it's just someone who enjoys inflicting pain onto others. And that's all these people are. These are people who had these illnesses for years that went completely unchecked, that went completely unhinged. Now they have a voice to spew that stuff, and it's gotten way out of hand.
You know what? There are some very valid. You had some very valid points in there. Very valid. Very valid.
Because even if you go look at some of these websites and some of these blogs that people comment on, the things they say, you're like, wait a minute, are you serious? People actually say this and believe it, but it's like, oh, of course, in the mind of a sadist, this is normal. This is how I feel. And now that I got that platform, who's going to stop me?
Mm-hmm. Now, would you, and caller, I'm just briefly. Now, would you agree that, or would you say that this is once again, this is white privilege that has completely reached its boiling point?
White privilege that just went completely unchecked. That's what it really is. It's white privilege that's been unchecked for years. Now it's gotten way out of hand. You got a group of people who honestly believe that, well, the world should belong to me. Everything should be at the bottom of my feet. That's why people keep complaining about affirmative action, but they're failing to see affirmative action. Yes, it kind of does disadvantage us blacks, but with whites, it gives whites, no offense to people who do research on this, it gives whites an easy access to anything and everything. Even the poorest, dumbest trailer park trash can get anything what they want with affirmative action. but they still don't act upon it. So they believe in their head that some black person stole it from them, but they fail to realize, okay, they already lowered the bar for you. Now with affirmative action, they lowered the bar even further for you. So you really don't have to do anything to get it. It's just you should just put your name out there. They don't even want to do that, but they want to accuse others of being lazy.
All right, I think you know what, you know what, very valid points. But I really want to thank you, caller. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You have a good evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's and yeah, there's some things that what the caller was saying was very true, and we have to, like I say, there's some things that we have to look at as black people. Now, when we say race and class, this is where we're at. This is where we are at. The issue that sometimes that we seem to forget as black people, or let me rephrase that, we seem to forget as black people that this situation is repeating itself. This is what they're doing now happened 150 years ago, happened 100 years ago. It's just repeating itself. The only thing different is that you have technology, and you have technology to kind of put it out there in your face. And now at the same time, you people are being inundated with all type of bad information. And it's once again still the element of white privilege. White privilege. And the funny part about it, the individuals that were doing the marching at the park near University of Virginia, spoiled young white boys. Once again, white privilege. Because you've taken this down. Now, the other thing that they're up in arms about is the Confederate flag. We have to understanding the two. The first thing that sometimes that we all see is the Confederate flag, and we associate that with slavery. That's a misconception. It's not. It was at the time when the Union was, the states were divided. You had the United States of America and you had the Confederate States of America. The United States of America had the first flag, the red, white, and blue, and the stripes, and the blue field and the stars. Then the Confederates had their own flag. It's just a different version of the same flag. But they seceded from the rest of the United States. The original flag of slavery is the flag that you stand up, that most people stand up to and hold the national anthem to, stand up, cross your heart, and say the Pledge of Allegiance. That is the original flag of slavery, because it was when they got here and they created the flag, they already had slaves. We have to understand, when we really want to talk about something, we have to fully understand what something is, what it is. And the other thing, one of the other callers was mentioning something about the Republicans. When you do the history and what we're talking about, this too, we have to understand the two parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. The Republican is an elephant. Okay, and the idea is that an elephant, by being strong and it has an excellent memory, it gets things done. The Democrats, their icon or their symbol is a donkey, which is a complete idiot, a fool, an ass of everything. So you have to really look at this carefully. We have to also understand, when the Democrats get in, they tell you that the Democrats will convince us that they are for us. They are with us. They're going to help us, when actually they're helping themselves. The Democrats use us to garner votes. And I say that because here's a prime example. If you look at television right now, and the two individuals that are running, which to a point actually makes me just makes me sick, is that you have J.B. Pritzker and you have Kennedy, who are two white guys who are what? Billionaires. What do they know about black people? Neither one. These two guys are a million miles from a plate of rice and beans and hot water cornbread and Kool-Aid that somebody stirred up with their hand with no sugar. They have no idea what that is. But once again, we as black people, we're going to get behind them. Some of us are actually supporting them in their commercials. What is wrong with us finding a viable black candidate to run for whatever office we need them to do? What's wrong with that? You know why? Because once again, we have been bamboozled into believing that the white skin is our savior. See, they understand the game better than we do. This is the part about what we're dealing with. The same thing about Charlotte. They already understand it. The problem is that we don't. We don't understand it. We keep following the same people and expecting different results. At some point or another, we're going to have to wake up and realize these Democrats are not for us. The Democrats are the ones that are actually helping us. Black people did not become Democrats until 1961. 1961. Why? Because we had black Southern preachers going into the White House and listening to white America tell us they're going to help us, and we believed it. We believed it, and here we are once again. We're still doing the same thing. Instead of saying we need to get together for ourselves and say we are no longer going to tolerate this, because understand something: the same way that these neo-Nazis, these skinheads, these white supremacists, the same way that they get together and create what they're doing, and some of them to a point of absolute it's just jarring, mind-bending mayhem. We could do the same thing. We can do the same exact thing. Exactly. We're just not putting it together. We're expecting someone to come in and do the work when we should be doing it ourselves. Someone to do this. But the other part of that too is that when we put some of these people, some of our own black people, in positions of power, and I know people are going to be upset when they're in positions of power, they completely just mess it up. Completely. This is the thing. This is the problem that we have. The problem that we have. Now, here's the funny part about this is the difference between them and us. This situation here in Charlottesville, when it happened, all of a sudden, you know who gets involved now? The state, not the State Department, but the Department of Justice decides to get involved. And Jeff Sessions, who even when I was growing up was a known racist. Even he said, you know what? We're going to have to really look into this, and it's a good chance that we might have to bring civil rights violations. That's my point. This should have been done under the previous administration when they had the ability, when they knew where these people were and how to deal with them. But you know what we're going to do, you guys? And I know this is really good and really high. We're going to take us a little break here at the show on the Chronicles of Rohn. Hey, listen. If you have a comment or a topic for the show, give us a call here and leave it on our voicemail at 872-267-1381. Leave a comment or a topic for the show, and it will be forwarded to me. Also, my sponsor, Nubian Beauty of Hair. Check out their websites for a lot of their fabulous products at luxuryhairdirect.com/bynubian4. That's luxuryhairdirect.com/bynubian/.4. We're still taking your calls. We will be coming right back. Call us here at the station at 708-223-8953 here at the Chronicles of Rohn. And we are back here on the Chronicles of Rohn. I'm your host, Alan Campbell. We are talking about the situation out there in Charlottesville, Virginia, class or race. When we, just before we took our break, something else that came to mind to me is that when I refer to the two parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, we have to, as Black people, we have to ask ourselves these questions, because one of my callers actually said that Trump really got this started. Actually, we first of all, we have to look at how this actually started, because we what we're doing is that we're looking at the previous administration and we're looking at the current. We're looking at a Democrat and a Republican. And when we look at this, and we have to ask ourselves as Black people, because remember now, I don't use the term African American, because understand, so I've never been to Africa. I like to go, and this is an interesting sidebar. As most of you know, I'm an actor here in the city of Chicago. And we had a Nigerian man on set with us. And see, and this is the thing about us, once again, us being ignorant. And I couldn't, and I think that's the best word I can use, because this is sheer ignorance. As we're standing there, we're ready to go do our scene, and the Nigerian gentleman standing there. And the thing about the well-dressed man, and spoke, and he articulated very well. So this young lady walks up, and we begin and a conversation ensues. And out of the blue, she said, now this is a Black woman. It's just all of us Blacks standing there. And this is a Black young lady. And she asked him, she says, I don't want to seem out of line, or I don't want to offend you. And we all looked at her and said, okay, that coming out of a Black person's mouth, that doesn't sound right. She had the nerve to ask him, do you all have buildings and roads in Africa? This is 2017. Are you kidding me? So the young man, he looked a little puzzled, but then he looked at me, and I just waved my hand and say, no. You know what? Entertain her. And he went on to say, yes, we do. In fact, we have money there too. And she went on to say, and the funny thing is, she didn't hear a word he said. She says, well, do y'all have huts? And he said, excuse me, miss, I don't even know what a hut is. I live in a 3-flat. I have 2 cars and a driveway. What do you really? And he went in on her, which he rightfully should. See, this is once again Western and Eastern and Western of us being ignorant. This is where we're at now. We're still falling for the okie doke, the banana in the tailpipe, by believing what someone else is telling us instead of doing the fact finding and searching ourselves. When you ask yourself about a Democrat, a donkey, a complete fool of an animal, why would you get behind it? The Democrats are good at 2 things. They're good at hindering and not helping. Name me one Democratic individual who has helped the cause to thus this far. Now, some people will say, well, what do the Republicans do? You have to understand, the Republicans are about that's why they call them conservatives. They find the money. They see where everything is. The current administration hired several people to do what? Very simply, when Donald Trump hired the guy from Goldman Sachs, who, by the way, got caught stealing, and people say, well, why would he do that? It's very simple. Donald Trump is a businessman. He's not a politician. And if you want to catch a thief, what do? Who do you hire? You hire another thief. By the way, since we're really talking about that, this is a guy that found out that 8 trillion, and that's trillion, that's TR, that's trillion with a T, $1 trillion was missing from the Department of Defense. From the Pentagon. Trump calls over there and asks the guy, hey, where's this money? This guy told him he did not know. That guy got fired that day, and he rightfully should be. There's no way. How does that happen? We switch over here to the Democratic side. Everybody's getting money. Everybody's making money. This is where your lobbyist comes in. This is where your NRA comes in. This is where all of this comes in. But nobody bats an eye, because we continue to see what they keep telling us. We're going to help you. We're going to look into this. We're going to do that. People, wake up. These are people that are not helping you. They are hindering you. They are the proverbial crutch. Black people, like I said, black people did not become Democrats until 1961. That's when Negro preachers went into the White House and they listened to another white man tell them what he was going to do for them when we should have been doing it for ourselves. And here we are in 2017, still having this asinine conversation because we want to continue to believe what people are telling us. This goes back to our elected officials in our community in the city of Chicago who are allowing gentrification in these communities. Lawndale, North Lawndale, Inglewood, Roseland, Pullman, South Shore. They are allowing this. Now, here's the funny part. Here is the funny part about this. You know how this happened? We let it happen. We let it happen. We can't sit here and say about economic growth. We can't sit here and say about crime. We can't sit here about drugs and guns. We let it happen because we keep putting these circus clowns in office who keep ripping us off. And what do? We keep electing them. We keep electing them. We keep electing them. Hello. I'm sorry. Is anybody home? This is what's wrong with some of us. The light is on, but the light is on. Nobody's home. The elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. Some of us are one sandwich shy of a picnic. This is what's wrong. This is what's going on. But we want to be up in arms about what's going on in Charlotte. No, this is white people getting together and acting a clown and making a point. As crazy as it sounds. One of my all-time favorite movies is The Dark Knight. And a lot of people they missed the point of the entire film and what the Joker, the Batman, and Harvey Dent / Two-Face were all about. They missed the whole point. In all actuality, Batman is the criminal. In all actuality, Harvey Dent is the thief. In all actuality, the Joker is the good guy. How is he the good guy? Because he told the truth. He introduced chaos into the established system, and these people lost their minds. He just told the truth. That's all he did. That's all he did. And you can liken Donald Trump to the Joker because he introduced mayhem and chaos into the established order, and these people are losing their mind because it's not business as usual. He's exposing a lot of people. Donald Trump would be proverbially the proverbial drink passed around the room until somebody finds out it's Kool-Aid. Then what happens? This is the guy that's standing in the corner, and then he's telling you the secret. Oh, by the way, I added a little extra something to that Kool-Aid, and all of y'all drank it. That's us. We keep drinking the Kool-Aid and believing what they're telling us. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid, people. Because guess what? The other ones, the Caucasians, these white supremacists, they figured it out. They're not drinking the Kool-Aid. They keep feeding it to us. This thing in Charlottesville is only the tipping point of other things. If we go back a year to the situation in North Carolina with Dylan Roof, where he shot and killed 9 church members at a black historical church, one of which was a senator, which really kind of scratched my head on that, is that this senator went to a function without a security detail, which is highly unusual. But Dylan Roof was supposed to be the fuse, was supposed to be the lighter to set the fuse for the race riots, meaning blacks against whites. It didn't turn out the way he thought. It didn't. What's happening is that now some of us hopefully have figured it out. And we're starting to see how these people actually are and continue to carry out. Going back to like I said before, going back to the previous administration. The previous administration has this. Let me even expound on that a little bit. When you are the president of a corporation, a country, or you're a CEO of a company, you have certain powers, not absolute or unlimited, but you have certain powers that you can exercise. And as far as the president is concerned in the United States, it's called an executive order, which in some cases cannot be rescinded by Congress. It can't be rescinded by the judicial branch. It cannot. It cannot. Obama didn't do that. He did not exercise. He did not use the weight of the office like he should have, as Trump is using it. You have to understand, a politician, businessman. Obama's a politician. So guess what? He has to play by the rules of the politicians. He's a politician, which we all know that we can't trust a politician. I don't care. And then the other thing, the biggest mistake that we made is that, hey, we have a black man in the White House. Well, understand something, people. They let us have him. Don't think they gave it to us. They let us have him so we can stop complaining and say we never had one. At least the ones that are still living right now. What they're saying now is, ha ha, we fooled you. You got him. So now we need to move. We need to hit the reset button back to the way things used to be. So now you can never say you never had one. Fooled you. We got you. And then he went along with the okie doke and drank the Kool-Aid also in the Oval Office with the rest of them. We have to look at things for what they really are. We looked at this man as being our savior, as being, hey, he's going to help black people. No, understand something. Because if he decided that that was he was going to do, he would have shown, it would have definitely caused a problem. But that's the whole point of why you take the office. You're not there to make friends. You're there to solve problems. And the problems would have been solving the equality. Not about and equality wasn't about transgender. It wasn't about wages. It was about one person against another. It was black against white. That this dude had one job, and that was to bridge the great divide. He didn't do it. Now we get people to say, oh, when Trump comes in, we got a caller coming in. Stand by. Good evening. Hey, welcome to the show, Chronicles of Rohn. Who do I have and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Chicago. This is Monet again. I'm sitting here listening to your show, and I'm trying not to take it as far as it's going. But you constantly keep badgering President Obama. I'm not understanding this. He wasn't in office to give us a free pass. He said it when he got in. Just because I'm black, don't think we're going to get special privileges. He told us that. Why do we constantly keep saying, well, they gave him to us, or he didn't, he was just he's a politician, but not a businessman. And you saying Trump is a businessman, but not a politician. I mean, some of us need to be intelligent enough to say, you know what, Obama did what he was only allowed to do. Congress didn't let him do what he wanted to do. He stated that. Congress didn't let him go as far as he would have gone. So please, stop saying Obama this, Obama that. It's not true. Lyndon B. Johnson had a saying. He said, if you convince the poorest white man that he's better than the black man, you got a fool. And that's what we're dealing with today. He was not lying. They convinced the poorest trash that they better than us. And this is what we're getting. So stop saying Obama this, Obama that. Obama is not your savior. Obama didn't get in office to give every black person a free pass or open the White House up to eat chicken and cornbread. No, he went in there, he did a job, he helped some of us, Obamacare helped so many of us black people, it's a shame. But all we want to do is down this man. He didn't do this, he didn't do that. Then if you didn't like what he did, then why are you on some of his programs? Why are you doing this? Please, for heaven's sake, stop always finding the negative in him. I will always be proud of President Obama. He might not have passed everything I would have liked him to pass. Understood, he had a Congress that wasn't going to let this man go as far as his nose, but he still got it done. I'm trying to hold on to listening to this show, but I'm at the end. You have a good evening.
All right, thank you. You know, and to piggyback off my caller, and I understand what I totally understand. Remember now, everyone is entitled to their opinion. And I totally and I respect that. I totally respect that. But remember now, like I say, all of this, it's a show to where we pride ourselves. I pride myself on facts and truths, and doing a lot of fact finding. This is what you try to do. And I'll agree to a point to where when you said that Congress didn't allow, here's the problem with that. When they had the midterm elections prior to that, once again, people didn't go and vote. And what happened is that when and the downside to, and it's two sides to that. Here's the thing that we have to really understand and look at. When we're talking about the Republicans and the Democrats, we're talking about two different classes of people. Once again, and I say that again, class of people. We look at people who are helping us. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. We are looking at people who say they're helping us, and then we're looking at people who don't want to help us. We have to understand which one is which, and understand. Then when we find out which one is which, that's when we have to make the decision. When you say it's not a matter of bashing him, it's not about the bashing him. It's looking at it's looking at both ends of the spectrum. When Clinton was in office, a lot of us got on the bandwagon because this is what he said he was going to do. Clinton being a Democrat, he was going to do this. He did this. He did this. Okay, and we looked at him. And a lot of people likened him to the first black president, which was really a oxymoronic statement to begin with. How do you even put those two together? I have no clue on that one. But when we refer to the two of Obama, what should have been done now, if he was going to do something, now had he been able, let's say had he been able, and I'm playing the devil's advocate, let's talk about the Obamacare. There's certain things that he could have put in place to prevent the current Congress now from even touching that. If you're going to put something, if you're going to do something, you need to put safeguards in and around it. Now, on the flip side of that, there are people who will disagree to say that Obamacare is a complete disaster. It is failure. And I say that only because of the people that I've spoken to. I say that only because when I speak, there was a gentleman, and I would have loved to get him on the show because he was very adamant about the things that Obama did not do. And you say bashing. He did some bashing, and it was some things that I had to really take into consideration of what he was saying, and at the same time look at that there may be some truth to that. And I told him that, you know what, I'll look into that and I will address that. And hopefully, sir, that you are listening to the show. I really do. But we have to look at this from both sides. We have to be what they call objective observers. We have to look at everything for what it is. Nobody's saying that Obama's. First of all, when you get somebody that's running for president, it doesn't come with a manual. There is no how-to in the book. Everybody's a first timer on the job, so people are going to make mistakes. Obama, yes, he did say that this is not what this is. This is not who I am. But unfortunately, a lot of us were sucked into the dream. We're sucked in because he was black, instead of looking at the fact that this man is a politician. This man can his range was only going to be so much or so far. But at the same time, you are the president of the United States. You you reach into your drawer, you pull out an executive order. You write what you want on this executive order. You sign it, and you send it downstairs to go over to Congress, and you get it done. This is not done. This is, if he really wanted to put some things in place, this is one of the things. Hey, I'm going to put this in place. I'm going to make this an act. Key word. He just said Obamacare. He didn't make it an act. He just said, this is what we're going to do. The first thing Trump said, I'm going to repeal the Obamacare. He didn't say act. Now you move to the Affordable Care Act. What they're trying to do is create something to where it cannot be touched for 50 years, which may not be good for people. It may help some, it may hurt others. But the bottom line is that the job was not done in the way it should have been done. Should not. And right now, a lot of people are really suffering because of that, and there are people, and there are some people that I know for a fact that can't even afford health care because it continues to rise. But you know what, you guys, we're going to pick this up. We're going to pick this up next week. That's my time here tonight here on the Chronicles of Rohn here at iHeart Intellectual Radio. Really, I hope that you all get something out of this show and really keep the, and really open your eyes to the things that I'm talking about. So here, I'm going to say thank you very much. And this is for my sponsors who also help sponsor the show. And I appreciate you all the time. Nubian Beauty of Hair. Check out their websites for the latest of lace weaves, hand-sewn wigs, eyelashes, and their soon-to-becoming cosmetic products at luxuryhairdirect.com/bynubian4. Hey, you can't eat religion, and grits won't get you to heaven. Till next week.